Hey, good morning, Justice Warriors. How's it going? Do we got this all set? All these little adjustments. Hello, it is Friday, November 11th, 8:36. I'm really happy to be here with you. I'm really happy that you're here with me. Hey, Natasha Rennie, how are you? So thanks for making a comment. It's always good to know that I am up and running. Hey, Phantasmic Ether. I like to start my lives with saying that everything I say is simply my opinion, and it is all for the sake of conversation, discussion. It is educationally guided and geared, and it might be entertaining. That's not really my goal. My goal is to educate myself and others. So that's my hope, but it's YouTube. So, just my little disclaimer there. I just want to get right into the thick of it. What a freaking mess. I said it yesterday, I think, and I've said it before. I am so sick and tired of being so sick and tired of the BS in the case of trying to find justice for Ms. Kylie Rodney. Um, I think that it gets very overwhelming and that we all get to a point of despair and hopelessness. And, that's okay. That's okay. That's just part of life. You just keep on keeping on. Um, where to begin? I think that it's really important to identify that AWP, Adventures with Purpose, has been completely blown up and destroyed. Um, they have been bombed, essentially. They have been obliterated, essentially. And, you know, the whole mess with one of the founders and his family and their whole history, that's a whole MF mess. And it's ridiculous and tragic for that to be getting played out on YouTube. Um, it's just so that's so disheartening. So many people deal with sexual assault and those types of things and incest and those types of things. And to have people's dirty laundry get plastered all over YouTube, in my opinion, it doesn't really have much to do with that situation. That situation needs to play itself out in the courts. It needs to play itself out with the family. It doesn't require us to see any of it. That's why I think that it's a huge intentional distraction from the Kylie Rodney case. So many people are talking about that. Like I said yesterday, it's a valid thing to talk about. I'm not saying that people shouldn't talk about it. I'm just saying that people like myself and the subs that I have that are very dedicated to Kylie Rodney's justice, we're not going to allow that to distract us. Period. Um, wouldn't it be nice on Fantasy Island if the explosion of AWP blowing up and getting obliterated and the release of Squirrel Girl's interview with Nick, the roadside assistance guy, wouldn't it be nice if that whole mess just resulted in AWP releasing all of their footage or releasing the next video? Because it sounded like they kind of had a video number 2 prepared, that they were waiting to see what happened next. I feel bad. Let's see what Ashley B has to say. Not I feel bad. I feel like if this was truly about a 16-year-old driving drunk into a lake, we wouldn't have so many strange, disgusting, unbelievable things coming from it. Right. And, there's this thing I mentioned yesterday or the day before about how people can go into a fugue state and literally their brains can just be wiped clean of all information. Um, and that's a very scary thing. It's a very uncommon thing, but it can happen. I almost feel like collectively there's some type of amnesia or fugue state where people that have been paying attention to this case from the outset can just forget about all this extremely important, relevant, and verified information that just gets brushed aside and like, oh, okay, car accident. That whole car accident thing is so outlandishly out of control with all of the information that's out. It's out. You can't put the genie back in the bottle, man. AWP needs to release the footage to show the world why we get all of this crap to sort through in fucking fucky. Um, so I did realize why my voice is a little bit hoarse today and yesterday. I can't believe I'd forgotten. I was again at a sports event the night before last. Um, that was a very exciting and close sporting event, and I do get vocal at those things. It's fun, and I feel like if you say the right thing at the right time, it might help psych up your team and psych out the other team. I know that sounds silly, but there's a lot of people that are like that, right? We all like to root for our teams. So it was outdoors and it was at night, and so yeah, that's why I sound like I'm coming down with a cold. I don't think I am. But yes, thank you, Maud. I agree. AWP needs to release the footage to show the world why we get all this crap to sort through. I absolutely agree. And so many people are questioning Nick, the roadside assistance guy, and his ability to recall accurately, which I think part of that is valid, absolutely, and questioning Squirrel Girl's, interview with him and, why she wouldn't have just, like, gone live with him. I'm sure there's a lot of reasons for all of it, and, you know, it's it's just information. It's just information to consider that, these types of crazy things happen. People get told all the time something didn't happen when they know darn well it happened. Um, that's the whole gaslighting thing. So, if Nick had a tendency towards substance abuse or towards despair, depression, mental illness, this type of stuff could be enough to push somebody over the edge. And it's like you just don't mess around with it. Same thing with the people that are in the web with Jared and his history. People get suicidal over that stuff. It's extremely damaging and personal and difficult, and it just should not be put on social media. So, that said, I wanted to focus today on some of the quotes that have come out of people's mouths directly. That's, in my opinion, the most relevant information is the quotes that have come out of the people's mouths directly from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So, we've got some Lindsay quotes, we've got some Sammy quotes, we've got some Jagger quotes. Um, we've even got some Mags quotes and Keats quotes. We don't have a lot of other quotes. Um, so what do you guys think? What do you want to focus on today? After several members of AWP stated that Jared would do and say things just for the show and views, I feel like the more footage was just to keep people on the limb. Others should speak up if so. Yeah, I just want to say that the catfish crew, I'm sure they're all patting themselves on the back, like, yeah, good job. We got this. We, seek and destroy the enemy, and, we're good to go. It's all a done deal. The cover up is complete. No, it's not. It's not even close. You got some splaining to do, folks. Did you check out Slithering Sleuth? Her info is crazy about other murders and drownings in Truckee. I have not, Pixie Dancer. It's a little overwhelming to keep up with all of the other wonderful creators. It's also a little overwhelming to keep up with all the other tragedies in and out of Truckee. I mean, my goodness, there's just a lot. There's a lot of cases. So my exercise right now is in maintaining my focus on Kylie Rodney. And some of these cases might be interrelated, but I think it's really important just to keep the hyper focus on Kylie. And, if they're related, that'll come out eventually. A girl from Nevada County supposedly to have left her house in the middle of the night with her nightgown and robe on. Yeah, I heard something about that. Um, and, you know, hmm, some of Jagger's quotes to me are very incriminating in making him look like a domestic abuser. And let's just say that he is or was a domestic abuser. That doesn't necessarily mean that he was part of whatever it was that happened to Kylie. Um, Nevada County Sheriff ruling him out allegedly towards the end of September, they stated publicly to The Sun. I mean, two very unreliable sources, Nevada County Sheriff and The Sun, right? So allegedly around September 20th, the sheriff said to The Sun that they had ruled Jagger out early on, but they just hadn't mentioned it to anybody. Not buying it. Not freaking buying it. Please remember to like the live and good morning subs and newcomers. Yeah. I am just going to say straight up, I'm not going to believe anything that comes out of Nevada County Sheriff Office or Placer County Sheriff Office. I am going to have any trouble believing anything that comes from the California Highway Patrol as well. Um, I personally believe Nick, roadside assistance guy, I personally believe Squirrel Girl, I believe that they have told the truth to the best of their ability. That doesn't mean I buy everything at face value 100%. I have a healthy amount of skepticism with any information shared with me about anybody, anything, anytime, any place. I mean, you've got to keep an open mind, in my opinion. However, knowing how to trust yourself, trust your instinct, and knowing who to trust is a skill that a lot of people have innately, and a lot of people have worked really hard to sharpen those skills, such as psychological profilers and detectives and these types of things. I've mentioned again and again, one of my Bibles is Gavin de Becker's book called The Gift of Fear. And anybody who knows that book knows it's phenomenal. And what it does is it helps you to identify your spidey senses that you already have and to sharpen those spidey senses. So, you can tell, like in the interviews of Kate and Jagger, when they're looking down like this all the time. People are looking down, it's because they're lying and they can't look you in the eye. That's really basic, that's really simple. Um, Also, you can tell when you got somebody like Sammy who's got that duper's delight. I mean, these are really common attributes of liars. Liars love to lie. That's what they do. And they think it's kind of cute and funny that people will believe anything they say. And yeah, people will believe a lot of what they see and hear because that's just the nature of humanity. Many people don't assume that folks are lying, but like law enforcement, anybody who calls 911, they're not necessarily assuming that you're lying, but they're not assuming that you're accurate. Even if you're calling as an outsider saying, "Well, I see this going on next door." Um, you can't take anything at face value. So I think that's a really good example. When somebody calls 911, they expect 911 just to take them at their word and go, right? But no, they're going to ask you a lot of questions like, who are you? Why are you calling? What have you seen? Slow it down. We'll get somebody out there, but we need to know the basics so they can come into the situation with that set of information, and then they come in to formulate their own opinion. They don't formulate their opinion off the 911 call as much as people might think that they do. The first responders know that a lot of people are going to either be involved when they're calling 911, or they're going to be panicked and they're going to provide misinformation. So there's a big difference between misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation is when you're misinformed and you're trying to be informed. Disinformation is when you are lying. And we are getting, I think, in this case, an abundance of disinformation, not so much misinformation, absolute disinformation. I think the abundance of this whole case, like probably close to 98, 99% of it, is complete bullshit. 100%. So let me see. Jagger would not had to be cleared if it was a tragic accident. Exactly. I mean, that whole thing is just ridiculous. Um, what was this? I still can't get over one of Kylie's best friends who was in her car several times stating that her car had a sunroof when it was obvious that the car pulled out of Prosser did not. If you're talking about Sammy, yeah. I mean, scammy, swammy. Um, that whole thing with, we just remembered today about the sticker on the back of her car. We just remembered about the sunroof. We just remembered. Well, we never looked at her car that severely. I mean, anything coming out of Sammy's mouth is bullshit. That girl is a liar, straight up. And, you know, not buying it. Waving the bullshit flag. I love it. I'm just going to highlight that. So yeah, I think a lot of us are very sick of getting gaslit. We're very sick of trying to see the forest through the trees. Hey, Salaji, if I'm saying your name right. My daughter called the cops on my ex-husband for hitting me while I was 7 months pregnant, and they were going to take both of us to jail. So I dropped the charges. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry. Yeah, police are so essential and so dreadfully undertrained and sexist and power tripping. That needs to stop. That absolutely needs to stop. um I don't think Swammy and Kylie were friends. They weren't even in social media, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. So, this whole thing with Truckee, could they drag their name through the mud any more than they have been with this? I mean, this town is not doing themselves no favors, in my humble opinion. They're trying to protect their economy and their tourism, and they're not doing a very good job. I mean, they're really making their town look like the armpit of Tahoe, the armpit of Northern California. Um, Imagine a 5'7" person, drunk or not, going into the water and having a sunroof. That would make it so easy to get out the car. What an interesting concept. Yep. Um, Truckee needs to come clean. Yeah, Truckee, fucky, I lived in Olympia, Washington, and Seattle area for a long time, and there is a couple of areas near there where all of the crazy stuff happens. The craziest of the crazy. Anyone who's familiar with Western Washington, no offense. One of these places is Tacoma, Washington. That's where the horrible, crazy, ridiculous stuff happens. The other place is right basically across the Puget Sound from Tacoma, Washington. It's called Bremerton, Washington. Both of these cities are kind of the armpits of the area. And all of the horrible, horrible cases that you hear about happen in these two places. And that's historically, Tacoma was actually built up and designed as the red light district of Seattle. So when Seattle was building itself up as a big port city, as a major port, they didn't want their red light district stuff anywhere near their industry. So they made their own city for it, and that's Tacoma. So a lot of people don't realize that. The reason Tacoma is the armpit of the Puget Sound is because that was the plan. That was the plan all along. And then Bremerton is very a very poor area and also has a naval base. And, I have great respect for military. And at the same time, military bases often lend themselves to a transient nature in the area, unfortunately. So that's why Bremerton is like that. And both areas have changed a lot with just all of the influx of cash that's been going into Washington State, and this is real relevant to our case here in Truckee. Washington State made recreational medicinal marijuana legal about 13 years ago, and the entire state has gotten so rich off of that. I mean, they already had things like Microsoft and Boeing and Starbucks and Amazon and a whole bunch of others. Um, but then the marijuana. So that money going into Washington State, which is probably in the billions, had to come from somewhere. And it basically came from Mexican drug cartel, part of their piece of the pie, so to speak, and California. California has lost a tremendous amount of legalized marijuana dollars over the last decade or so, as so many other states have made uh, either just medical marijuana legal or even recreation in some states, not as many, of course. But once it's legal medically, a lot of people know how to work the system to get a hold of it for their own recreational purposes. That's no secret. But that, I think, is a huge element of the problems that Truckee is facing. Northern California was extremely wealthy off of marijuana growth for decades. Humboldt County was where it was going on. And, the violence around that industry is pretty much the same as the violence that you would see in a movie like Scarface. Um, it's not a bunch of peace, love, hippie, herb type of vibe. It's cold, hard cash, a lot of it. There's a lot of guns involved. It's severe. It's just a whole element that I think I've brought it up once or twice. Other people have brought it up a few times in this Truckee picture, but I think we need to pay more attention to it because even going back to Red Flag Ronnie, he talks about the dispensary right near there, right? Um, it's a thing. Um, so yeah, I'm missing some of the really good chat here, and you guys are all supporting each other about domestic violence, it looks like. Let's see. Um, he didn't get anything yet. He got me in trouble with food stamps, and now I have a court case against me for giving him food stamps for our children. He's very evil. I'm glad he's not rich. Oh my goodness. Let me highlight that. I have so much respect for your work, Sagali. I hope I'm saying your name right. And I just really appreciate like the last one you did. If you guys haven't seen her last video, please, please, please check it out. I think it's just like 5 minutes long. So, there's so much packed in it. I was talking about it yesterday. I know there's a lot of channels out there. There's a lot of long lives that we would all like to watch, but it's kind of hard to keep up with these things, even if they're just 1 hour or 20 minutes. So sometimes it's really cool when we get these condensed 2-minute videos that we can just hop on and off and check it out and see what it is. So Slagi, sorry, I'm just like hacking up your name. Can you tell me yes or no if it would be okay to call you Tsunami as a nickname? Um would that be okay if you don't mind answering in the chat? Because I was doing that kind of accidentally, and then I thought that that might not be a good idea, and then I thought, well, maybe, I don't know. So if you mind or don't mind being called Tsunami, just because your name is really hard for me to say. I know that your name has a meaning about Native American, and I have a lot of Native American. LOL. Yes, it's okay. Call me Tsunami. Thank you. Oh, that makes it so easy. And Tsunami, you are awesome like a tsunami. I'm telling you guys, check out her channel. It is way, way cool. She's just got quite a nuance with her kind of integrating music into it as well. So to me, one of the fascinations with focusing on a case like Ms. Kylie Rodney's case, and I've said this before, is it's almost like an escape for me from my own problems. Like I can run away from my problems and try to rescue poor Ms. Kylie Rodney. At the same time, I am very in touch with my problems and my issues, my deep seated issues, and I'm working them out as I'm doing my best to try to help Ms. Kylie Rodney. So, there's a lot of that goes on unconsciously where we're identifying with somebody, and then there's some of it that goes on consciously. So, I just think that that is a very real element for a lot of us that are here and invested, that we can run away from our own problems simultaneously working on our deep seated issues. And what can be better than that? Like a vacation from your own baggage and working out your deep seated baggage. I mean, I honestly feel like that's what I do with true crime. I've identified that for years, like why I've been a true crime aficionado. So, just kind of validating for all of us that this is therapeutic, this is cathartic. And man, if we could find justice for Kylie, would that be like the bomb? Would that be so cool? And I honestly think that we can. I really think we can find justice for Kylie. Um, and Codswallop says, I threw up this morning. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Um, yeah, tsunami is the truth. Tsunami. I love that. That is way cool. You guys, that is the best. Truth tsunami. Right on. I'm going to write that down so I don't forget. I'll watch this later and I'll write it down then too. So, anyway, remember, Lindsay and her Etsy channel, Etsy page, um, Lindsay's Etsy of that weird shit she's selling or looks like she might be selling. I mean, I don't know if anyone's buying that stuff, if she really has stuff to sell, but the quote on there that really yanks my chain is the curiosity killed the cat. And would you guys consider that her threatening people's curiosity, or is she making a veiled uh, reference to Kylie was curious and found something out, and that's why she's not with us anymore? I don't know, or neither. I don't know. I think it's a really weird thing to be doing with your life when you're in the early few months right after losing a child, to be putting up a freaking Etsy page with that bullshit. I think it's highly suspicious. Um, I think so too, just a filtering of so much garbage and word salad in her case. Just I feel we are missing a kid. So you just said that a minute ago, so probably in response to what I was just saying. Oh my goodness. What in the world? Please. It's not doing its thing. Please pinned message. I don't know why sometimes these things play tricks on us. I guess it's just the hiccups of technology. And MC watching community meeting from 812 on video, Placer County Sheriff on its channel. I think perfect tsunami, so good, and have the word truth on there. You are so talented. You will make a perfect logo. Yes, Truth Tsunami. Wouldn't that be great merch for your channel too? I love it. Um, so going back to Jagger allegedly telling news crews early on in Kylie Rodney's missing person case that he was at the same party that she was at. Was he misquoted in saying that, or did he change his story? Because it seems to me, and I've been paying attention ever since this case came out in public around August 8th, August 9th. It seemed to me that that was his first statement. He said, "Yes, I was at the same party." And then he quickly changed to, "No, I was not at that party. I was in Napa." And then he kind of waited a few days and then he came up with fishing with my dad in Napa. That's what it was. And then a few days later, it was, I had my own damn party in Napa. You know, I was graduating. I had my own graduation party in Napa. And then it went back to fishing with my dad in Napa. And then his father verified his alibi, allegedly. Um, why are none of these parents speaking out? If they really want to clear their kids, why are they not speaking out? Codswallop says, "Jazz, that's what's making us have the urge to throw up watching that community meeting." Yeah, yeah, the horrible, horrible stuff. I believe those hiccups are coming from Truckee. I notice when I ask certain questions, I have been blocked. Well, Steffi Marshall, my mod is like very protective of the chat, and so perhaps my mod may have blocked you or put you in a timeout, not knowing if you were a troll or not. We're getting bombarded with trolls, and it's annoying. I mean, some of it is just grist for the mill. That's just YouTube. You know that's what it's like. And then some of it is definitely accelerated with the way this case is going. Jared's sister has posted a couple of videos. I found them on Evil Exists. Strange. Yes. And I don't want to get sidetracked by Jared's sister. And I don't want to sound like dismissive if she's been victimized by him and she's trying to get justice, but she needs to get the F off of the freaking YouTube and go fund me for $1 million freaking dollars. Let me just say this about her. She is re-victimizing her cousin. Her cousin told her specifically that she did not want any GoFundMe. She wanted nothing to do with it. The sister said she forgot to contact the cousin until after she put it up. Then she put it up. Then she contacted the cousin. The cousin said, no, nada, nothing. And then she took it upon herself to go with it anyway and just keep doing what she's doing. I mean, really re-victimizing a victim. Whether she's re-victimizing herself is kind of her own prerogative, but to re-victimize her cousin like that, her cousin said no. No means no. It's so much sick fuckery. And you gotta wonder, is she just a ditz doing this on her own? Or is she being guided or paid by the catfish crew to just go out there and be reckless and just destroy as much as, I mean, they've basically burned AWP to the ground. And, I say, so what? The phoenix rises from the ashes. I have full faith that the good people that had to disband will start up their own things and move forward. However, right now it is a mess and it is very distracting, and I'm trying not to allow it. Um, Ara, who is a great creator, has been doing really good videos. She has taken a look at a woman named Phoebe Bell who interjects herself in the community meeting and presser. She's sus. Ew, I haven't even heard that name. But yeah, Ara, the creator, is really good. And if you try to find Ara, the creator, it's rough. Um, and I don't know if that's the algorithms of YouTube or if that's like influence of Hambrick family. But I was just doing it this morning. I've seen Ara's work in the past, so my computer should have a shortcut to get to it. But I Googled Ara, YouTube, Kylie Rodney, and it was not pulling it up at all, period. And I thought, to me, that's sus. And Dana Phipps, Kate, Jagger, and Kylie was 4th of August in Reno. Also, Jagger and Kate went searching for Kylie in Reno. Why would she be there? And you got to remember, too, all of those statements about that Mags made and Sammy made about how, oh, we just want her to know that we were looking for her. And even the Country for Kylie. I really suspect that she was still alive for at least a few days after the day of August 5th. So, there may be substantial evidence that she was still alive all the way up till the 19th. I mean, it's so much fuckery. It's so ridiculous, the amount of gaslighting. And there simply would not be this level of gaslighting if there weren't this level of gaslighting. Why are people going to invest their time and effort into that? They are covering up and covering up. The only good thing about that to me is that all of that covering up is making it more obvious that they're covering up. So, like I've said a couple of times, wouldn't it be cool if Ms. Kylie Rodney could be the Elliot Ness of bringing down the cartel fuckery in that area? Wouldn't that be cool? Um, Mags, and we loved her through this. Oh my fucking God. Yeah. Yep. Um, oh, yeah, the first one in your hometown. I am so sorry about that, Codswallop. I saw what you were saying about having something horrible like that happen. I've known a few people who've been murdered, and it is absolutely grotesque on so many levels. It's just unbelievable, the lack of concern for another's life. I mean, that's true narcissism. That's true sociopathic behavior. It's really, really disgusting. So searching and not searching, right? That's why I used that little thumbnail. If you guys saw it for this trailer, saying that I was going to come on and do my live with the side of one of the search vehicles and the people searching. So I believe that what Nick, roadside assistance guy, says is true. And I believe what Squirrel Girl says is true. And I believe that on or around August 13th, law enforcement knew all about this sighting and did nothing with it. Kept pretending that the last sighting was on August 5th, 6th, at 12:33 a.m. Kept pretending that the last outfit she was seen in was the spaghetti strap bodysuit, that the one laying in the road wasn't hers. Wasn't hers. Nick says that the person that he saw that introduced herself to him as Kylie was wearing a gray hoodie. So here we had a black hoodie and then a white hoodie and now a gray hoodie. I mean, I've heard other people refer to this case as the case of the hoodies, the case of the 2 hoodies, the case of the 3 hoodies, the case of the mysterious hoodies. I mean, come on. Come on. The family of 4, I can't find any confirmation that they were actually found dead. The burning truck was empty and the farmer had a cell phone. I'm still looking into it. Oh my goodness. So much insanity. And again, are some of these crimes and mysteries happening as an intentional distraction from this crime and mystery of Ms. Kylie Rodney? If there's a handbook involved with her disappearance, that's like having a Kennedy involved in somebody's disappearance. I mean, I've used the Kennedy analogy with Sammy, but holy smokes. I mean, people know some about the Hambrick family. We've got a granddad who was involved with every big bank in the country, basically. We've got the dad who's involved with everything in Truckee. I mean, he pretty much owns the community. And then we've got this 18-year-old son who's getting in trouble, hanging out with Scammy, maybe hanging out with Kylie, maybe the last person to be seen with Kylie alive. I don't know. I don't know who the male is. And as I've mentioned, I'm not 100% convinced that that was Kylie that introduced herself as Kylie. I am convinced that Nick and Squirrel Girl believe it 100 or 1,000%. But in my mind, that still leaves the door open. So it is very muddy. The water is very muddy. It's very hard to see straight. I asked Casey Living Lake Time about the Sings, and he said they are deceased. However, I've never seen a report. Yeah, Casey's done a deep dive on that, really deep dive. That whole thing is just, like, why? Why would anybody kill an 8-month-old baby? I mean, I just don't even want to think about that. I found it first. They were killed. Now stating car is empty. My husband read it, Googled to me when it first came out. He never watched any Kylie. He loves news. Yeah. Um, you know, the thing about the case with Kylie is that she's a young blonde um teenager, female, and we live in a very sexist culture that those people aren't as important as men, as grown men, as boys. I mean, we live in a very sexist culture. So imagine that this was a missing guy from this party, a missing 16-year-old guy, like I've brought up again and again with the Jesse James Hollywood case back in the year 2000, with his victim, Nick. I said it yesterday, not Merkovich, Merkowitz, something like that. Nicholas Markowitz or something. Um, that kid, when he was missing, there was an Amber Alert nationwide when he went missing in the year 2000 for those first few days. Why on earth was there no Amber Alert for Kylie when she went missing? Especially if and when it came up that the last sighting was her at 11:30 on Saturday morning with a boy her age or a couple of years older than her. Um, then they have a potential person of interest that may have abducted her. And law enforcement said the only reason they couldn't do an Amber Alert was because they didn't have a specific suspect for the abduction. When I have said, yeah, but they're law enforcement, they can override having not meeting that one criteria. They can go ahead and say, well, we're going to have our Amber Alert anyway. We've all seen that happen in other Amber Alert cases. They don't absolutely have to meet all the criteria. That's just a guideline. The police, the law enforcement are the law. They get to decide. So unfortunately, when they're abusing that power and they get to decide, this is what we have, a horrible, tragic situation like this that doesn't make any sense, that they're just going to try to, you know, abuse us till we just can't see straight with all their damn gaslighting, and then say, oh, it was a car accident, and we're all just so stymied that, we can't see straight anyway, right? Ellie lied. I'm highlighting that. They lie and they lie and they lie. And sometimes they lie with good intentions on purpose to um, get people to come out and speak, right? So I did not understand that either because they knew she was already gone. And I believe the Truckee way more than Kylie under the rug. Yeah, that Truckee way. I don't think we can underplay the importance of that. Remember, just off the top of my head, some of it that is so odd is no surprises. Like, that's the Truckee way, is that there's no surprises. Like, life is full of surprises. You can't make a rule that there's no surprises. That's not realistic. So if you are the culprit of something that is a surprise, or you have affiliation with it, then you're in big trouble because you didn't follow the rule. I mean, give me a break. But also, let's apply that rule to Miss Kylie missing. So this wasn't a surprise according to their own doctrine. What? All right. Let me say that again. According to the Truckee way, there are no surprises, right? So Kylie disappearing was not a surprise. It was planned because that's how they do things in Truckee. And I mean, that's what we've suspected all along. It looked like it was premeditated, right? I mean, the whole thing just looks like a script. And I forget who it was on Ryan Upchurch referred to her, but he said it, that the case doesn't make sense if you're looking at it chronologically from the beginning to the end. It only makes sense if you look at it from the end back to the beginning, because it's so full of lies and it's so scripted. And I think that's really profound. I think that we all need to, put that in the grist for the mill and think about that. Just kind of noodle it, right? On that, I'm going to read a couple more of your lovely comments and wrap up. We're getting close to 50 minutes here. Law enforcement, Sam Brown complained also the processor is murky when it was clear water. Divers only searched from the surface. What the fuck? The car wouldn't be covered in mud at the bottom and it's man-made lake. Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's just packed with brilliance. Yeah. So yeah, the water in the area is not murky. It's crystal clear. And then there was that whole thing about how they were instructed only to look 25 feet out during the 2 weeks that they were searching that area, that they were standing right by where the car was later discovered. They were all instructed they could only look 25 feet out into the water. Like, that makes zero sense. That is just crazy. And then also remember about Kylie's granddad and all of his connection with the water and the water rights. I mean, it might not have anything to do with this disappearance of his granddaughter, but it seems highly probable that it could, in my opinion. I'm having a problem with Sam Brown admonishing whoever asked about the witness that called in to report about a young lady with Kylie's description. Wasn't the public asked to report anything? Dana, am I saying your name right? Dana Phipps. That's pretty brilliant. Yeah. I mean, he was the one who admitted publicly in his little speech about the cover up. I mean, not the cover up, the cover up. And he's so untrustworthy. He's just so untrustworthy. In my opinion, all of them are. The last thing I've seen of Upchurch was when he was saying about SF Investigate and Sammy look like they are related, like her dad. He put the pictures side by side. Who knows? Who knows? I'm going to go ahead and highlight that one. And then the next one says All American Cartel did a video calling Doug from AWP a racist and murderer because he has a spider web tattoo. Ooh, yuck. I didn't know anything about a spider web tattoo having connections to that. So I'll have to look into that because I'm completely ignorant. And Tsunami says, reason I believe it's for real. She hasn't changed her story in 3 months and it's still the same story. Tsunami, are you talking about Salish? Salish Singh? Because that is what it sounds to me like you're talking about. And I know that your last video is a lot of screenshots of text conversations that she was a part of. So I want to look more into that 5-minute video that you did because I think that's what you're talking about. I remember the cover up slip. A voice for money is all he is. Yeah, and the money is, the cartel money. I mean, according to Kevin Neese, and I believe Kevin Neese, the cartel money is going through the prison, and it's Sam Brown and Shannon Moon that are in charge of that. I could have sworn you could see that vehicle underwater with the helicopter coverage I saw in some video. I can't remember if it was AWP or news, but could you see the car? But you could see the car in the air. Right. And, the dates on that footage is what is my question. Because, yeah, there's definitely footage where you can see it. Drone footage. I think there was hot air balloon footage. Ashley, that spider web tattoo has meaning that is not good. Nobody should get it unless they are racist. Ooh, yikes. All of those messages are public information on Instagram. They're still there. Cool. Thank you, Tsunami. I definitely want to follow up on that. You did such an excellent job with that most recent video. When he said it's against our code, somebody explained it as well, except any crime except against children. Okay, I'm not sure if you're referring to Doug. I'm thinking that you might be. So let me just read a couple more of these. You guys are really getting into it though, so I don't want to cut it off, but I do just because we're getting close to an hour already. Illuminated mind, exactly. And I remember this meeting that there was another question that they had a problem with someone asking, and they're up there scolding people for legitimate questions. And Mega Pints and Muffin says, it's crazy how my grandma used to slap her hip and say, well, I'll be Sam Brown. She did this when something befuddled her. Truckie's Sam Brown seems befuddled a lot. I have never heard this. I'll be Sam Brown. I mean, I did a thumbnail just yesterday with Good Grief Charlie Brown, and I was thinking Sam Brown. Sam Brown, grandma, befuddled. Wow. Fascinating. Thank you for that. I never knew about the spider web. My ex had one and he just liked spiders. He did it young too. Yeah, that is super creepy. I knew somebody who had one, and so that's why I'm kind of like, really? I get it. I get it. I saw a picture of the day the law enforcement searching Prosser, and there was a marker in the lake exactly where Kylie's car was found. Right, Cindy Thompson. I'm going to highlight that one. So I do want to wrap up, and thank you guys so much for joining me. Please don't forget to hit the thumbs up on your way out, like, share, subscribe if you feel so inclined. Please go check out Tsunami's Tsunami Truth channel. I spelled it for you yesterday or the day before, but also you guys should be able to see her spelling of it in her comments in the chat. So on that, I'm going to say have a fabulous Friday, TGIF. And I'm just really excited that today's 11/11. I love that number. I think that's an angel number. And it's 9:30 as we're signing off. So don't forget to drink your water, eat your protein, your fruits and your veggies, and get exercise. stretch, relax, be nice to yourself, be nice to others, and just stay focused on justice for Kylie, you guys. I appreciate you so much. And we can do this. We are getting somewhere, I believe.